What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what happened with Nvidia's earnings as the share price is soaring to the upside, approaching its all-time highs again, and how this could affect the market going into tomorrow as we're seeing the market bounce. But before I break into all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit $500 into the account, you are guaranteed 20 free stocks. If you deposit $25,000 or more into the account, you're guaranteed 75 free stocks, and the offer ends very, very soon. Anyways, looking at NIO, this thing had a very, very flat day today. We gapped up in the morning and just continued to trade sideways, and we saw NIO close very close to the $6 area. I thought that NIO would have more volatility, but closed very flat. We were flat, but this thing just didn't really get as much volatility. So, with that being said, the question is what's going to pan out for tomorrow, in my opinion? Well, so far, Nvidia is going to be the thing that dictates how this market is moving. And with earnings coming out, Nvidia did relatively well. We're up over 7.5% as of right now. We're currently at 725 a share, and the chart is looking bullish. It looks like it could push even higher. So watch for that very carefully. I want to break down more details about Nvidia in the market, but let me first talk about some other things. Firstly, for tomorrow, we have some data coming out. As a reminder, tomorrow is going to be Thursday, February 22nd. We have initial jobless claims coming out in the morning, so we'll be looking to see what the jobs numbers look like. Then we have the S&P Global Composite PMI report at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. After that, we just have a bunch of Fed speakers as time goes on. We have Waller giving a speech later, Kashkari, Cook, Harker, and a bunch of them. And that's pretty much it. Most of the data is going to come out in the daytime. We have existing home sales at 10. At 9:45, we have PMI. Then we have initial jobless claims in the morning, so watch for all of that. Now, right now, there's about a 94% chance the Fed keeps rates the same. That's what the market's anticipating. We'll see if that ends up being the case, but this caused the market to drop initially when we got the FOMC minutes because the Fed is warning that there are risks involved if they have to hold rates for longer, and they are warning about that. So that's why the market sold off today, at least for the first couple of hours. We actually saw more selling after the minutes came out, followed by a rally. Because once the market priced all this in and was getting ready for Nvidia's earnings, the market started to pump with Nvidia, and the market's still at Creed right now. It looks like the market could push a little higher as we're seeing buyers stepping in again. And part of that is because of why we saw Nvidia pushing up. Why is Nvidia pumping? Because earnings was pretty good. So the first thing I just want to mention is that there were some things going on with demand that led to some concerns, but Nvidia is telling us that their guidance is still very strong despite regulation, excuse me, regulations involving China, and they're still doing very well as a result of it. They had earnings of $5.16 and revenue at 22 billion versus the expectations of 4.64 and then 20 billion. So they beat on EPS and revenue, which is very, very good. If you look at their AI demand revenue, that's from the data center, they're up 409%, beating estimates quite a bit amid rising demand for its AI GPUs, including the H100. The gaming business saw revenue jump 56%, and they're also telling us that for the fiscal Q1, revenue is expected to be around 24 billion, give or take 2%, topping analyst estimates of 22 billion. So they raised they raised guidance, excuse me guys, sorry about that. They had strong guidance, good earnings, strong numbers, and they're still showing signs of high demand. Overall, some little sectors saw some drops, like on the data center, but besides that, everything else is great. And overall, this is a good earnings. I mean, beats on EPS and revenue, strong reports, strong guidance. That's good for them. Now, as far as NIO goes, NIO has actually seen some very interesting stuff going on right here. We're actually seeing some possible signs of the first release of the NIO Firefly, what it could be looking at without anything on the outside. So this is basically just it being wrapped up into like camouflage, what they're trying to say. This is not like the full view of it, but just on the inside, if you remove this, you can actually see what it might look like. There are some talk about this, how NIO's sub brand Firefly could be competing with lots of other European brands in 2025. So if this is what it looks like, that would be bullish news for NIO. On top of this, I just want to call out that looking at what else NIO is doing on their Twitter page, NIO also announced that it has a new location for its 10th power swap station. It's going to be opened in Germany, and then thanks to its proximity to the highway and main roads, it's going to be very useful to reach cities like Frankfurt. So good for them. Good news for NIO as they're expanding. Bank of America Securities has the same rating. The price price ratio is trying to bounce a little bit, but it's essentially the same. And for seasonality, watch for high volatility around 2 p.m. and also at the last hour of the day. I also want to mention that for Thursday, NIO tends to be green only about 50% of the time. So it's basically a coin flip. Everything else seems to be the same, at least from this point on. Volume was at about 33 million. This is a little bit below average, but not the worst, as NIO saw a lot of consolidation. So, what do I see happening for tomorrow? What is my price prediction? I want to call out something very, very important. So, looking at NIO, I do want to be a little bit careful here because when you look at the share price, we are trying to turn right over here on the MACD. We're kind of just trading sideways. One could argue that right here, NIO might see a consolidation phase because it's continuing to just be range bound, but it's holding its EMA very nicely. And thanks to Nvda pumping the way it is, we're actually seeing NIO kind of green in the after hours alongside the market. And looking at the daily, we're still on an uptrend, technically speaking. So I think tomorrow we might see NIO touch 5.9 and then rebounds to about 6.1, try to fill this gap, and then start pushing for 6.25. I think it's going to continue to uptrend just a bit because on the daily we are on a slight uptrend. I think it's going to slowly push a little higher. So look for a back test of that 6 area, then look for some more upside to 6.25. Anticipate some green for NIO. SPY is looking quite bullish. The daily count looks very strong. I think it's going to be approaching 500 quite easily. It has this nice gap to fill. Not to mention, it could be retesting 501, then 503. The chart is trying to bounce as it held the daily 20 EMA very nicely and it's trying to push up very well. So this looks bullish to me. I think so far this is a good sign. And overall, I think Nvidia is going to help SPY push to 500 plus. 501, then 503 should be tested again. For Tesla, I think that Tesla is beginning to uptrend a little bit. We also have a potential inverse head and shoulders like structure that could still play out. So it kind of looks like this. We haven't seen it make the full measured move. We have a left shoulder, we have a head, and we have a right shoulder. So there's a very good chance we're going to be looking for 206 and then eventually 207, followed by 212. So I think that Tesla's going to be pushing for 200 very soon and eventually 206 plus. I think that the 4 hour is showing some life. It's starting to curl right here. So I'm going to be looking for a push tomorrow. I think Tesla's going to be pushing to these highs. And I think that it's going to get a lot of help thanks to Nvidia. For Apple's looking a little bullish on the 4 hour time frame. We have a nice crossover on the PPO. I think that's going to be testing 182.64. If that breaks, our next target is going to be all the way up to about 185. I think it might attempt to go a little higher, but it's going to be a little slow. So I think we're going to see some more upsides. So look for a push towards this level. And I think that it's attempting to balance here, to kind of grab liquidity down here before it continued. So look for a bounce. And I think it's going to try to break 182.6, eventually hits 185. For the QQQ, in my opinion, this is looking bullish on its PPO. This thing may continue to push to 429. If that breaks, we're going to be looking for a move to at least 432.5, if not 435 all over again. I think that it's looking like it's trying to bounce. You get a very, very nice rebound. So look and see if we continue to push. We could also draw out a trend line, technically speaking, from these different areas. So I can actually take it from here, this high like here, on kind of like bring it like this. I think that it might actually approach this resistance right here. So I think we're going to be approaching at least 434 and touch the high again. So look for more upside on the QQQ thanks to Nvidia. For Nvidia, this is up quite nicely. It could even push more, approach its all-time high again. It could even try to break to a new all-time high. So look for more upside tomorrow, and then we'll see how well it holds at these high levels. But there might be a lot of buyers still stepping in. We got a very, very nice move, and we could see another attempt to squeeze shorts. Let's see how it does tomorrow during the pre-market. It could push even more. So watch and see for more upside. I don't think it's just going to collapse. I think it has more upside coming. So that's it for Tesla, Nvidia, SPY, QQQ, and Apple. As for NIO, I think that with the market pushing, we could see NIO attempts to follow the trend. Watch and see NIO kind of retest 5 points, a little bit lower levels, so basically like 5.8, 5.9, then rebound and start pushing for 6.25. Look for a little bounce as I'm seeing some life on it. We have a nice consolidation phase that's forming, so look and see if we try to push higher. And overall, I do think it's going to close green again for tomorrow. That's what I'm predicting, guys. Have a great day. Congratulations to the people who are playing NVIDIA, trying to go long. NVIDIA made a nice move, and things are looking good so far. Thank you for listening. Get ready for tomorrow as we have big data in the morning. And besides that, we'll be back very, very soon to discuss what the market's going to do. Thank you so much. NIO in the market to the moon, and peace out.